we're going to get this one absolutely perfect. This is going to be the best one of all.
Welcome to Big Questions, Short Answers. I'm Sian.
And I'm Andy, Sian's husband, asking the big life questions.
And possibly adding a little bit of unsolicited advice.
Maybe. This podcast is brought to you by Sian's value-based online course. Visit sianjacquet.com to find out more. Okay, the question of today is being a perfectionist serving you well? I mean, obviously, there's certain things where being a perfectionist is probably quite important, like being a brain surgeon. I think you wouldn't just want to go in there with a bit of, oh, she'll be all right. But in terms of, we're not talking about that, but we're talking about just life in general. I think we all know some people.
We've got a pattern here now as we're doing more of these. I need to ask you, what do you think a perfectionist is?
Well,
as a character, a personality type, we're not talking about exactly as you say, I'd like you to be a perfectionist if you're drawing as an engineer bridges and you're doing open heart surgery on a 2-year-old. I want you to be a perfectionist. I want you stay in that motorway. So what does it mean? What made you ask the question?
I think that it's a little bit down to, there's people that I suppose just are afraid of things going wrong, whether that's to do like with a kid's party or, friends coming over for dinner. I think some of us are all familiar with various people who, for reasons best known to them, they just want everything to be perfect. And it's a kind of, it feels like quite a taut piece of material control. Yeah. But they want to make it perfect for everyone. You know what I mean? They want to make it perfect.
Hang on. I mean, you're slightly dancing around to, a perfectionist can actually radiate those demands to everybody else around them.
Okay.
Be it in a home, family, friend situation or at work. I'll share with you, and anybody listening to this who's worked with me, there'll be some people who are on a little laugh when I use this phrase. Tippy toe.
All right, yeah.
There was a time when I had a disproportionate number of clients that were in PR, marketing, that kind of media consultancy work. And it was fascinating to see the over-representation of perfectionist, beating themselves up because they're not good enough, constantly judging, constantly over-revving with the amount of work they contribute or the amount of focus and effort they put in something because it needs to be perfect. It is a personality. It's when it becomes harmful to you. And it's like having a little engine, an extra little engine inside you that just never stops. More, better. And I used to call them tippy toe girls, to their faces, that they were on their tippy toes all the time, like ballerinas on blocks. But ballerinas gets on blocks to do certain movements in certain dances for certain reasons. Ballerinas are not on blocks all the time. Yeah. Right? Whereas the analogy I would say to these people is that, you are like a ballerina who is crushing your toes and your feet and everything is bleeding. And there's no reason why you've got to be up on these blocks. You can actually come down, be like the rest of us human beings. The issue is, where is the line in this? Yeah, I mean, I think there are some areas where we can all over-rev and have perfectionist. I actually think that stress triggers a lot of perfectionist behaviour and a lot of fear.
Yeah.
So if I look at my own life, and I am being quite serious now, right? As a family unit, there have been many occasions when the pack has turned on me.
The pack?
And said, what it's like.
Yeah.
I'm living in my family, a pack of rabid dogs. The pack has turned on me because I need the house to be clean. I need it done to that level.
Yeah.
Because we've got people coming round or because we've got visitors, that kind of thing.
Oh, right, okay.
Now,
going back to cleaning.
Well, the truth is, the perfectionism and that behaviour and that need for everything to be is because of a belief that happened years ago.
Right.
For me, it's about being judged. For me, it's about creating the nicest environment I can for people with what I have. It's a language of love for me. Yes. I actually get enjoyment out of doing it. right? Now, that's the other thing about perfectionists. It's not always a dark alley of negativity.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But you can actually feel an incredible sense of achievement when you do it. The problem is, are you reaching success in the way that you want, or is it constantly moving further and further out of your reach? That is when perfectionism becomes a problem. And is it perfectionism that you have a literal control over, or is it perfectionism that you're spilling out to other people?
Well, that's I think where it becomes dangerous, isn't it? Where it's spilling out to other people, and you're putting a whole lot of stress on other people to meet your requirements.
Yeah, but it's what's the belief behind those requirements? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole load of science and learning as to internal pressures, the judgments, and if indeed, are you looking at a genetic predisposition towards it? Are there environmental factors? You know what I mean? It can become a problem if it's affecting your daily life. I remember talking to somebody a few years ago who had been assessed for ADHD as an adult, and that was one of the ways in which their ADHD manifested, was their need for perfectionism. Everything had to be right.
Okay.
And are we, when does perfectionism become compulsive obsessional behaviour?
Right.
There are some, I'm not a clinical psychologist, it's not for me to go into that, but what I'm saying is that perfectionism can be an acceptable word to describe very, very, very challenging behaviour that for the person who's displaying it and for people around it can be really, really hard. And then there are other ways of being a perfectionist, that I don't think it's affected my life. Yeah. Maybe you lot have all learned how to clean a bathroom better and go and make your bed and pick up all those bits off the floor, right? I would argue that actually the pack turns on me because you're reasonably passive-aggressive all of you, and it's just because you're late.
Oh, well, we're throwing some digs there.
But I think that, perfectionism can be a really, really, really heavy burden if it's part of your processing on a daily basis, that you've got to be perfect all the time. It's fear of failure, isn't it? It's fear of being judged. It's fear of not doing the very best that you can. And again, you don't have to be a clinical psychologist to unravel that one, do you? As a child, what were you told? What happened when things went wrong? What were you seeing around you? Did you have a mother that was perfectly dressed and organised and had lists and everything was perfect? Yeah. Because that's how they controlled their lives.
Can you turn it off, or is it's not a case of a switch?
I think you probably need... Well, first of all, you have to ascertain whether or not it's challenging your daily life. I probably, if somebody was saying to me that it was, I would be suggesting they go and see a clinical psychologist, and you probably need some specific, very specialist learning of how to dial it down and how to manage it. The bottom line is, I think there are times in all of our lives when we want something to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, like weddings and stuff like
there
that.
There we go, perfect. When people get completely, they've lost their minds.
What do they call
about
those sort of brides? Like
bridezilla or
bridezillas.
Yeah, but and can I just say, by the way, this isn't just women.
Oh, yeah, men as well.
There are many, many, many men who also have it. It's not a female bent in any way, shape or form, to be honest.
It's a reason why I would never film a wedding. It just the risk factor in terms of delivery, in terms of expectations, far too high in terms of financial remuneration. So, yeah.
You've gone down a completely different road, but I get your point.
But you know what I mean? It's like...
It's not. What I'm trying to say is it's not a bad thing, right? There are times when we all have it. We all over-rev wanting something to be perfect and have control over.
Can't be bish bang bosh every time.
But it's when... Can't it? But there are times when it's not, I hate using the word normal, but do you know what I mean? You're over-revving to a point where it's affecting your mental health and your life energy, and it's certainly affecting the people around you. Yeah. But underlying, something, it is usually stress and fear that drives it.
Right. Well, not the perfect episode, but pretty damn close, and I'm quite comfortable with that.
Oh, you funny man.
Join us next time on Big Questions, Short Answers with Sean Jacquet and me, Andy.
If you have any questions you want to ask, please send them via the website, sianjacquet.com.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with everyone you know.
We really do appreciate you sharing 15 minutes with us.
And if you want to do a bit more learning, go on to Sian's website, siansjacquet.com. There's a course on values to create the life you truly love. I did it, and it really does do what it says on the can.
See you next time.